Good morning and happy Friday. You guys have made it through almost an entire week of online learning, and I can't tell you how proud I am of you, all of you. I have loved getting the work that your parents have been sending me and visiting with you guys on Zoom for various things, just check-ins or our writing or today's spelling test. So it's so good to see all of you guys on Zoom, and get ready because I have some new things for us to try next week and it should be really fun. So work really hard today. I'll see you for our spelling test this afternoon and good luck. I miss all of you so much. Good morning and happy Friday. We are wrapping up our measurement with capacity this week, and next week we're going to be moving on to a different form of measurement. So we're going to do a little assessment today, which is kind of like a test or quiz, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. So go ahead and pull out this packet, and there's two things that are on Friday. We have estimate the volume scoot, which is going to be optional, and then you have your measuring capacity assessment. So at the very back of your packet, go ahead and find these two pages. The first thing I want you to do today is your measuring capacity. This is your assessment. And this I would like a picture of sent back to me when you are all done. If this takes you a really long time, you can go ahead and stop after this. But if you have a little extra time in math today, I have a fun activity called Estimate the Volume Scoot. So you're going to find this paper when you are done. And estimating, as you know, means you are taking a guess. So step one, when you're estimating capacity, it's helpful to think of the containers that you are familiar with. So here are the containers we've been using. We've been using a gallon, a quart, a pint, a cup. We've also been using the metric system, and we've used a liter and a milliliter, which is that little dropper. So those are all of the familiar ways we have measured this week. So I want you to think of all those pictures, and if you even have them in your house, you could pull them out to help you with your estimating. So step one, think of your containers. We just went through all of those. Step two, visualize the container or amount you're looking at and compare it to the container size you know. So you're gonna take what you are thinking, you're gonna take this and you think, which of these ones could I match it with? Then ask if your estimation seems realistic and does it make sense? If I had this and I was trying to estimate the volume of this, would I be using a gallon to fill this up? Does that make sense? I don't know. Does it make sense to use a milliliter? Does it make sense to use a cup? Does it make sense to use a pint? So you're gonna think, would that be something that makes sense, or does that seem a little silly? Okay, so you have this and you have a pen, and here we go. In each box, you're gonna write your answer, and I'll show you what that's gonna look like. Okay, so you have this paper right here in front of you, estimate the volume scoot. So here are your cards. We have, this is number one, so you're gonna write that right here for number one. Is this cup right here, which looks like lemonade, is it closest to 1 cup? Is it closest to 2 pints? Or is it closest to 1 liter? Go ahead and write your answer on your answer sheet here. This is number two. Is this pitcher of lemonade 2 pints, 3 liters, or 4 gallons? Go ahead and write that on number two. Now I'm gonna just scroll through the rest of them. I'm not gonna read them or talk them out. I'm just gonna scroll, so you can pause if you need to. Hi guys, and welcome to Friday Reading. I'm going to start my lesson this way. Today is going to be a little different because the main thing you guys are going to do today is you're going to Zoom chat with me for a spelling test. So please make sure that when you come to your Zoom time for this afternoon, sometime between 1:30 and 3, that you already have your spelling test numbered 1 through 18. And when the spelling test is over, I will have your parent take a picture and send it to me so that I can record that in my grade book. So that's number one. And if you don't know if you're ready for the test, spend the morning practicing for your spelling test, okay? Okay, let me show you what option 2 would be. Okay, I'm getting this set up here. Okay, so you have both of these packets right now. You have your checklist packet and you have your spelling packet. And if you look, Friday number 1 is your spelling test. And again, if you're not ready for that, practice. Then you're going to go back and you're going to see, have I completed the things that I need to complete this week? Did I do my Monday spelling? Did I read the story of the week in the comprehension and send it to Mrs. Belinbin? Did I do my grammar? And did I do the prefixes? Those would be the 4 main things that you should have done this week. If you have not done them and submitted them to Mrs. Belinbin, please do that. Practice your spelling words, but if you're like, I'm ready for the test, I've done all of these things, then you can move on to this packet review right here. There are 3 pages, and let me show you really quick what those are. So the first one is page 54, and that's at the very back of your packet. It's your pronoun verb agreement. So this is just like we have been doing the last couple weeks, where you are making sure that your pronoun matches your verb. So he drive to the theater or he drives to the theater. Which one makes the most sense? You're going to circle it and write it on the line. We watch the actors. We watches the actor. Write it on the line. Up here, it tells you if you're adding an S to an ES or an ES to a verb in the present tense, you're going to add it if the word is he, she, or it. And up here is going to tell you what to add and to which pronoun, changing the Y to the I and adding ES when the subject is he, she, it. Okay, so that would be step number 1. I think you guys can all do that pretty quick. I think it's really good review if you have the time. Number 47, that's going to take a little bit more thinking on your part. It says thinking about your audience. Good writers ask, what reasons will convince my audience to agree with me? Marla is writing to convince her parents to let her go on a class trip to the zoo. Marla brainstormed reasons. Then she chose the ones that her audience, her parents, would care most about. She can learn many things about animals, such as bears at the zoo. The teacher, principal, and 5 other parents will be on the trip. She will promise to follow safety rules. So read about each writer and his or her purpose. Underline the reason that the writer's audience would care most about. Care most about. Then add another reason that the audience would care about. So you're going to circle one that they think you would care most about, and then another reason as well. And then the last page, if you have time, is just another review. So you're going to read the sentence and fill in the blank with the word from the box. See you during our spelling test. Hi, boys and girls. For science today, I'm going to do a little review of what we've talked about and done so far this week, and then do a little mini lesson, and then I will show you on the .cam what you guys will be doing on your own. So we have been talking a little bit about weather, and specifically weather. When we talk about weather, we're talking about the air. Is the air hot? Is the air cold? Is the air wet? Is the air dry? Is the air moving for wind? And so that's kind of what we've been talking about. So on Monday, you guys created a little art project where you said it was sunny or rainy or windy, and you guys used this worksheet right here to say it was hot, sunny, cloudy, so on and so forth. And then you drew a picture and you picked weather words describing air that matched, and you drew a picture to go with it. And I've been loving seeing those pictures that are coming in. Okay, so when we talk about air, we're specifically talking about, or when we talk about weather, we're specifically talking about the air and what the air feels like, what the air is doing. Someone who studies the weather and predicts the weather, that is called a meteorologist. And you guys will all be meteorologists next week, predicting what the weather is going to be, reporting what the weather is going to be. And earlier this week, you also did weather tools. You learned about the different tools that a meteorologist uses on this one. So a weather vane, a thermometer, and so forth. So I hope you had fun doing that, learning about the different instruments that a meteorologist uses to predict the weather. Another thing that a meteorologist does is he takes or she takes all of the information to predict future weather. And one of the things that they do is they talk about averages. They find the average weather point, or the middle number, or the common number in a set of points. So what they'll do is they'll take 3 weathers, 3 temperatures, and they're trying to find the middle number or the common point. Now, if I had a set of numbers right like this, you could tell me what the middle number was. It's in the middle, but it doesn't always mean the number that is in the middle. So the way they find out average is it is the sum, or the answer to an addition problem, of all the numbers and then divided by how many numbers there are, which is a little confusing. But if I had the numbers 1, 2, 3, I would add all those numbers, because first I'm going to take the sum. 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. And then I take the sum and I divide it by the amount of numbers I have. So 6 divided by 1, 2, 3 numbers I used is 2. The average, or the middle number, or the common number of these 3 numbers is 2. And we could figure that out because it's right there in the middle. But if we have different numbers, it can be a little trickier. Let's do another one. If I have the numbers 10, 15, and 20, and I add those together, I'm going to stack them. 0 plus 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And then I take 45 and I divide it by 1, 2, 3. And that is a little bit trickier of a math problem for us to do. But 45 divided by 3 is 15. So the middle number or common number for those 3 is like that. If I only have 2 numbers, which you guys will be using, say I have the number, I have 15 and I have 17, okay? I'm going to add those 2 numbers together, 15 plus 17. First, I'm going to stack them. 7 plus 5 is 12, 32, and then I take 32 divided by 2, which is 16, and I get this middle number. So the average of 15 and 17 is 16. You guys will be finding the average or most common number, the middle number, in your worksheet today, and that is something that meteorologists do. So it's important that you also know how to find the average when you are reporting the weather, because next week that will be your job, looking up weather in a specific city and reporting out that weather. So you guys are going to have 2 different temperatures and finding the average of that. So if the temperature was 50 degrees and 54 degrees, I'm going to add those together. 4 plus 0 is 4, 5 plus 5 is 10, and I have 104. And now I'm going to divide it by 2 numbers because I only have 2 numbers right there. So 104, I have a really hard time dividing 104 by 2, but I know that 100 is in there, and what is half of 100? 50. And then what's half of 4? 2. So half of that would be 52. Also, if you have a calculator at home, you are more than welcome to use it for this particular activity, because Dividing 104 by 2 is not something that a third grader has learned how to do yet, so you can most certainly use a calculator. Good luck. We are continuing on with weather and science, so please make sure you have this packet. You're also going to need a pencil today. I'm going to use a pen so you can see it better. We are going to do 3 pages today, but they all kind of go together, and they'll take just a couple minutes once we figure out the first one. So you're going to find Student Activity Sheet 1C. And this says write the correct symbol from the symbol bank next to each word. And that's saying, kind of like in math, we've been dealing with leaders and we write it as a capital L. Same thing, we're going to figure out which one of these letters is an abbreviation or a shortened version of these words. So the first one here is Celsius. That is a way to measure temperature in other parts of the world. And a hint that I'm going to use is that the Celsius starts with a capital C, and I'm looking up here which one makes the most sense. Probably not IN, probably not an F. I think C for Celsius. I'm going to cross that out. Degrees. Now this one is not matching the letter, but you might have seen it is 38 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So degree is this little circle in right there. So we're going to put it, and it kind of floats in the air. That's this guy right here. Check. Fahrenheit, that is the way we measure temperature here in the United States. I'm going to look at that capital F. That's my clue. I think you can probably do the rest of them using the first, either the first letter or the first couple letters. Now the bottom down here says use these symbols up here to complete this chart. So we're looking at a couple months, and we're looking at their temperature in Celsius, their temperature in Fahrenheit, their monthly precipitation, or how much water came out of the sky, and their wind direction. So I see in January, it says -8 degrees, what? This is their temperature in Celsius, so I'm going to put a C for Celsius. This whole column is C for Celsius. You're going to continue to fill it in. Then my average temperature in Fahrenheit, what symbol am I going to put in this column if I have Fahrenheit? This one says monthly precipitation, and usually we measure precipitation in inches. So what symbol am I going to put in this column? And then typical wind direction and highest airspeed, we measure that in miles per hour. So what abbreviation am I going to put in this column here? Okay, that is the first job you have. The second job, you're going to flip it over to 5 days temperature. So we're looking at the daily temperatures somewhere. It doesn't say where we're looking at the daily temperatures, but this is a whole week of temperatures. We have the low temperature for the day, so what was the coldest it was that day, and what was the highest it was. We've got Mondays low, Mondays high, Tuesdays low, Tuesdays high, so on and so forth. It says use the information in the chart to complete the sentences below. On Monday, the average temperature was, and we have not done averages. That's not something we do in math in 3rd grade, but let me show you. Average just mean what is what is the middle number, or what, if I use those numbers, was it, what temperature was it for most of the day? So let me show you what we do for averages, at least in 3rd grade. We are going to take these two numbers and we're going to combine them to find a number that is between those two. So if you can do it in your head and find the number that is exactly between 65 and 75, that is awesome. If that is not something you can do in your head, let me show you a way we can do that. So we're going to actually draw a number line, but we're not going to make it all the way to 75. We're going to just make it from 65 to 75. We did this in math. We practiced doing number lines when we were subtracting, or when we were doing repeated subtraction for division. So we're going to put 65 on one end. We're going to put 75 on the other. And you're going to think, How much is it to get from 65 to 75? If I'm not sure, I'm going to count 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. 10 in between. So I need 10 lines. 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. And what is exactly halfway? Here's my halfway. So the average temperature between 65 and 75 is 70 degrees. So I used Monday's information. 65 is the low, 75 is the high. My average on Monday is 70 degrees. Now I need to make sure that I am labeling it. This is degrees Fahrenheit, so my answer is also going to be degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so then on Tuesday, the average was, it's between 60 and 70. Now I'm going to give you a hint. All of these are 10 apart. So 60 to 70 is 10. 55 to 65 is 10, 50 to 60, and, oh, except Friday. Friday's a ringer between 59 and 65. So you're going to have to do that one. That one's a little bit of a challenge. Okay, so what is the average temperature for each day? Then we're going to graph it. So on the last page, we're going to use the information from the last page, and it says the average temperatures Monday through Friday, and you're going to use the information from the other page. So you might have to flip back and forth. So on Monday, my average was 70. So here on Monday, I'm going to put 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Do not forget to label degrees Fahrenheit. Then now we're going to graph it. We're going to do a bar graph, or it says plot that data. So we don't even need to do a bar graph. We just need to put a dot where the average is. So Monday was 70. So I'm going to find Monday, and I'm going to find 70, and I'm going to find where those two meet. And they meet right here. So my dot for Monday should be right above the word Monday, and it needs to be on the line that is 70. Then Tuesday, you're going to put Tuesdays on there and make sure that you put the dot right above Tuesday, wherever Tuesday is averages. And then you can connect them to make a little line plot. That is your job today. Good luck.